practice what I'm about to share with you, you're going to notice things happen fast. I'm not kidding. It did for me. And obviously, the longer that you practice it, the more results, the quicker the action happens. But it will take you consistently reminding yourself to take these steps. Now, I believe that it will help if I do this once a week. I spoke to my mentor at least once every 2 days, sometimes every night. It was always at night because he was a very, very busy man. And, you know, his time was extremely valuable. To have him as a mentor was more than a blessing. It came into my life very randomly, and I will be forever grateful for it. This stuff that he talked to me about, and it'll be the same for you guys, you will already know the stuff that I'm sharing with you. You'll already know this stuff, but to hear it and to finally start to practice it is what makes the difference. So I will start by saying this, and I'll reiterate what I was saying. The success that we're going to find from what we're talking about isn't about what you do. It's about how you think. And it's like that all across the board. You can ask any successful person. It wasn't because of the things they did. It's because of the way that they thought. And the way that they thought started to dictate the opportunities that came into their life and what they did with those opportunities and how they acted on them. It's because of how they thought. So to change the way you think is going to take a consistent plan, a consistent shift, if you will. This one training might not get you to the success that we're talking about, but it's going to start that track. Now, even if I only did this one training, but you took it and you worked on it and built on it every single day, then you will get to where I'm at right now. And I'm still growing and learning every day. And to be able to do these trainings is actually going to help me as well. So I want to start by, first of all, asking who here has seen the movie The Secret or watched the movie The Secret or knows about the law of attraction? Everybody? Tammy, Natalie, I can't see Carol. Jane says yes. And I saw Jim hop on, but I don't see him now. Is he here? Jim? Hi, Jim. Hey, I see you there. Have you heard of the law of attraction and The Secret and stuff? No? Okay. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that, and then this training is gonna expand on that for everyone who does know. So the law of attraction, Jim, and this might even sound crazy to you, but you attract what you think about, which you might have heard that before. Your thoughts create your reality. I would highly, highly recommend, Jim, either reading the book or going on Netflix and looking up The Secret and watching it. Trust me, some of it will sound like, I don't know, it's a little weird, but it works. It really does. And I do recommend everyone tonight to take some notes. This is life-changing stuff, so definitely feel free to take notes. So The Secret, what it basically says is when you think about things constantly, you attract more of it. And that includes the negative, it includes the positive, and it includes the negative. So a good example is if you're late for work and you're freaking out about how late you are and you're hitting every red light, that's why you hit every red light. You're attracting every red light to you because you're freaking out. That's the vibration you're putting out into the universe, and the universe says, this is what you want, here you go. The universe doesn't decipher what you want or what you don't want. It just gives you what you think about. You attract that into your life. You manifest more of what you're thinking about. So this is why you see people who are in ruts and complaining about that rut stay right in that rut. You see it all the time on Facebook, especially when you have a big social network and you see these people who post the same whining complaints. You know, a really funny, no, it's not funny. I shouldn't say funny. A good example was there was a lady who posted in our team thread about, you know, the price of everything, and she wasn't happy about it. And then someone commented, another lady on the team, she commented, and she was complaining even harder about the price. And I offered some solutions and suggestions, and she rebutted with, you know, more complaints and stuff. Later that day, she got in a car accident. No one was hurt. It's just her car was damaged. And, you know, of course, she made a posting, oh, that's my Saturday. And it was a very heavy duty complaint, which, you know, we understand it's something that is worth complaining about. But she got on a tangent and she started to feel all this negative energy just because of a simple, you know, thing about price. And she let that kind of dictate her day, which it only attracted more of the negativity. That's the law of attraction, but it works to the positive side too, Jim. If you want something in life and you are so focused on that with all your heart, your soul, your feeling, your energy, you attract it. It just happens in very magical ways. When I first learned about The Secret, I think it was about 15 years ago, I really took it very serious and I started to practice, thinking about all the things I wanted in my life. And not only just thinking about them, but closing my eyes and visualizing and feeling what the feeling of having would be and feeling the gratitude for having it as if I had it already. And I was grateful for it and I was thankful for it. And things started to come into my life that I was thinking about. This is why people make vision boards. Vision boards work the same way. When you see it every day, you look at your vision board and you're like, all these things, I want them and I feel like I have them and I'm grateful for them. And yes, and you feel so good about it. A year or two down the road, a lot of us look at that vision board and realize, hey, we actually have it. And sometimes we forget we even had the vision board. And when you look at it, it's like, holy crap, I attracted all that stuff. It's really crazy. It's like magic, but it's real. Thoughts literally become things. Yes, they do. In The Secret, they talk about how they hooked up athletes to these biometric readers, and they told them to close their eyes and run their event. So these were track and field athletes. They told them to run their event completely in their mind. And what they found with all these, electromagnetic or muscle reading things that they connected to them was when they were thinking about running their event, all their muscles that they used to do this event spired at the same time. So if they were running, the leg would go like this with your electric signals or whatever. And they were like, wow, how can this be? You're just thinking about it. You're not doing it. They're not running. They're not moving their legs, not moving those muscles, but they were still spiring as if they were. So the power of our mind is it's crazy. It's crazy what we can do. And we can attract these things into our life just by thinking about them. But a lot of people saw that movie and they thought, oh, well, if I think about something, it's just going to magically appear in my life. There's more to it. And the way that my mentor talked to me about the law of attraction was that when you follow just the way The Secret put it out and use the world as a catalog is what they were saying. Use the universe as a catalog, pick what you want and all that stuff and think about it daily. Be grateful for it. That's like a complicated way to do it. And there's a more efficient and easier way to attract the things you want in your life. And that's what I'm going to tell you now.
Yeah.
The easiest way to do it is to not just think about your desires, which that would be considered your desires. It would be to think about your purpose in life. When people have and know and are aware of their purpose in life, that's much more powerful than a desire. And when you attract your purpose in life, all the desires come with it. So instead of thinking about 10, 20, 30 different things, you're thinking about one central, more powerful thought. And not only that, but when you feel something, when you think about something, when you're attracting something, it comes to you faster with more energy you put out. The more energy comes from the more, if it's more meaningful to you, more powerful to you. And our purpose in life is 100% that. So me, and I'll tell you, I ask a lot of people what their purpose in life is, and most of the time they go, I don't know. A lot of them will list off things that they want in life. But I say, but is that what you're put on this earth for? Is it what fulfills you the most? Is it what, makes you feel, rewarded? And a lot of the time they have to get back to me in a week, and that's fine. I'd rather them really consider what it is instead of just try and, spew out something just for the sake of saying, oh yeah, I know my purpose. No, I want you to really think about this. What were you put on this planet for? When you do something along these lines of your purpose, they should make you feel fulfilled. For me, and I'll give you my example, and I've known this for years, my purpose in life is to help people. But a lot of people can say that. What is it about helping people? For me, I like to be the light in people's darkness. I like to guide people to their destiny, their destination, their goals. I like to help people realize their potential and then achieve their potential and reach their potential. So for me, what that looks like when I close my eyes is me on stage. with hundreds of thousands of people, helping all of them. They're all taking notes because what I'm saying adds value to their life and will change their life. It also, when I close my eyes, I see myself running an organization that some sort of charity, doing charity work, and I don't want to put a label on it yet because I'm trying to keep this simple. So I don't know what the charity will be or what the deed will be, but I see myself running an organization that helps people. So that is how I can visualize it. So when you know what your purpose in life is, you can attach a vision, a visual to it. Now you know what your purpose is and you can see it. And the clearer that picture is, the faster you can attract that into your life. So what happens when you know what your purpose in life, and it's good to know what your desires are too, but they're secondary to this. So like my desires would be to own a house on the beach, to have a summer home somewhere nice and warm, to be able to take my girls to Disneyland, you know, until they're old enough to do it for their children. And, you know, there's secondary desires. So knowing your purpose, knowing your desires, that's the only way to attract them. You've got to know what they are. And that's the problem with a lot of the world. They don't even know it. They don't know what they want. They don't know what their purpose in life is. So of course they're not attracting it. They're stuck on a hamster wheel. And all they know is what they've been told about life. You know, go to school, get good grades, get out of school, get a job, start a career, move up the ladder, retire. Hopefully you have enough money to live. That's basically, you know, the recipe that people have been taught to follow, instead of follow and chase your dreams and passions and desires and purposes. That's the difference. When people switch from that, you know, industrial age mentality to, you know, get what you want. What is it in life you want? Go after it, no matter what people tell you. That's when people live enriched, fulfilling lives, and a lot of them become wealthy. But wealth has nothing to do with it. And even with you guys talking here, maybe some of you really fully realize your purpose in life, but it doesn't have wealth attached to it. This is why I'm saying when you think about your purpose, it comes with everything that encompasses your purpose. So for me, being on stage with 100,000 people, probably wealth will be attached to that, probably, but it doesn't mean it necessarily does. So this isn't just about money, but if money is what really drives you, and if it's attached to your purpose, then that's what's going to come with it. So that's why freedom, growth, and joy, and the rest follows. So true. Well, freedom is what we're all after. It's not about the money. It's really about what the money can give us. So if you know what the money that you want can give you, that's part of your purpose and desires. So money's not everything, but don't be afraid of money either. A lot of people have this like negative thing about money. Oh, people deceive to earn it, and you know, if only certain people have it, and you know, they're arrogant or whatever. You know, forget all that stuff. Money is not bad. It's not a bad thing. And if you have a lot of money, it doesn't make you a bad person. So if you want money, feel free to want it. Hey, can't stop. He's chewing on my blanket. And don't feel bad about that. So when you start to think about your purpose and your desires more often, you start to magnetize the people, the ideas, the opportunities, everything you need, the ingredients for you to reach your purpose in life start to come into your life. Again, it's like magic. That's part of the law of attraction. So instead of what the way the secret teaches you is to think about all these little things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all these things, the car, the house, the people, the love, the blah, 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 blah. Instead of thinking of all those things, you think of one thing with those as secondary, and it makes it a lot easier to focus on it. Now, this is where things are going to get crazy, okay? So once you know your purpose and your desires, and you know that you can visualize it, you see it basically pretty clearly, it's time to start shifting your thinking from beta to alpha, okay? Now, this is where the training gets really cool. So beta thinking is basically any thought that comes into your head that questions your alpha thinking. Alpha thoughts are you trusting yourself, trusting the universe. And alpha thought is basically you knowing something, you knowing that you can accomplish something, you knowing that you know the answer, you trusting that what your instinct on the question is the right answer. That's alpha. That's why, you know, an alpha wolf, they're a leader. They know the answer. They know what to do. Their instincts are on key. Alpha. Beta is questioning yourself, doubting yourself, envy, comparing yourself, jealousy. Basically, they're not necessarily negative, but they're negative to your goal of being alpha. Now, I will tell you this, and this might sound weird, but almost every thought you have that you can feel as a thought is beta. Alpha, you don't even think, you just know. This is you running off of your instincts, and your instincts aren't thoughts. Your instincts just happen. You have them and you act on them. And that's what alpha is. You trust your instincts and you act on them. That's it. So when you're in beta thought, you have all these thoughts coming into your head and you start to calculate and process. It's like, whenever you ask yourself, how am I going to do this? Guess what? That's a beta thought, because an alpha person says, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know I'm going to do it. It's interesting, and it's really, really weird. So when you know that you're going after your purpose and desires, you don't know how you're going to get there. Trust me, nobody who is successful knew how they would do it. They just knew they would do it. And then all of a sudden, the person came into their life. The idea popped in their head, and their instinct said, that's the idea we need to run with. And eventually more of those keep happening. And the opportunity just presented itself, and your instinct said, we got to jump on this opportunity. That is alpha, okay? Beta is when you see an opportunity, it's you thinking, well, is that going to work in my life? Well, will I be able to afford this? Is it going to be worth the investment? Is it, that's beta thinking. That's not trusting your instincts. When you see something, you hear something, you feel something, your alpha already knows the answer. And here is an example. Tank it down. How many of you have done this? When you have an idea, you ask for someone else's opinion on your idea or your thought. Even though you know the answer, you still ask for that opinion to validate. How many people, with a show of hands, have experienced that? So guess what? You already know this stuff. We just don't know what it means. You already have alpha thoughts. You already do. You just question them with your beta thoughts. So your mission is to stop thinking in beta. Now, how do you do that? By replacing every single beta thought that you notice come into your head with your purpose and desires. That's how you do it. Whenever you think, oh, how am I going to accomplish this? Oh, I don't have enough rent money. What's going to happen? How am I going to get more rent money? Cut. Purpose and desires. Close your mind, close your eyes, flush out all those beta thoughts, and visualize your purpose in life. This takes practice. It doesn't happen overnight. Eventually, those thoughts will stop. They just won't come in as much. All of a sudden, you'll be realizing that you just live off your instincts and thoughts barely happen. And it makes it much easier to meditate when you're like that too. And meditation is also very great. Meditation is how you get to theta thinking. I'm not even gonna touch theta thinking. People who think in the theta wavelength are able to absorb things, including one example that my mentor told me was, people who have a very good touch with theta thinking can look at someone playing tennis. They have never played tennis, but they can see the person playing tennis. They hop on the court and they can play tennis. It's true. They can absorb things. They see what the person is doing, and they're in such a heavy wavelength that they can absorb and know just by seeing how to do it and do it themselves. That's the next level, and that takes meditation. So what my mentor was able to do, he was able to look at a book, flip through it, and absorb the book. And it sounds crazy. I know it sounds like wishy-washy, hooey-fooey, and he would explain it. And this man has done unbelievable things. He didn't even like sharing his name with people because he had too many people, trying to learn off him and stuff like that. He wanted to keep very low key. How I got him as a mentor is unreal. So when I first started to work on this, things happened like instantly because I took it very serious, and I started to really flush out all the beta thoughts and think, only alpha. And when you're in alpha thinking, you trust not only yourself, but the universe. So when you have such a clear vision of your purpose, all you know is you're going to reach it. That's all you know. You don't need to know how. You don't need to know what the opportunity is, the vehicle, the people. You don't need to know that stuff. So that, to have that is to trust yourself, to trust your instincts, to know that every instinct you have is something you need to follow. And that it's you trust yourself, you trust the universe, you trust that everything that comes into your life, and you know, it's not always the universe. It could be God. It's whatever you look to as a higher power. And we all say the same things. If I myself, as I have always considered it the universe, but anyone who really follows God, they all say the same thing. Well, God puts everything in my life that I need. I say that about the universe. The universe puts everything in my life that I need. And guess what? That's basically me giving up to the universe, surrendering myself to the universe, because I trust it so much that I know that it'll give me everything I need. What do people who follow Christianity say? Surrender to God, because God will take you where you want to go. It's the same thing, guys. You know, we don't need to talk about religion, whatever. It's just surrender to the fact that this beautiful, you know, existence we have has everything you need, and it will give it to you if you're attracting it. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with religion and stuff. So trust that. Trust yourself. If you can trust both the universe or God and yourself, you start to magnetize everything you need, and it can happen faster, it can happen slow. It really depends on you and how much you surrender to that, and how much you flush the beta thoughts. The more you trust yourself, the more it's easier to flush those beta thoughts. God is that inner voice. God, universe, it's that inner voice. It's us. We are all one. We're an energy. We all come from the same stardust. You know, we're all that. So if you can trust that stuff and believe that, you know, with such powerful faith that you will reach your purpose and your desires, you start to realize that your lifeline, it is one line. A lot of people say, oh, well, this is life, you know, up and down and up and down. But when you think about it this way, here's your future, here's your now. There is a line that connects right from your now to your future. It's one straight line. Everything that happens from here to there is one line. Now, when you start to realize that everything that happens on that line is what's got to happen for you to get here, you start to realize that the road bump you just hit was part of that line. The I don't know, the negative event, the event that feels so, oh, it hurts, it sucks that this happened, oh, it feels like it's going to derail me. No, it's part of that line. It's everything that needs to happen for you to get here. It doesn't mean that, oh, this changed everything, I got to go this way now. No, it's all part of that line. And guess what that does? It takes so much stress off your shoulders. Oh, it's the best. When you think like that, everything that happens negatively that you would usually perceive as, oh my God, this is derailing me, it's setting me off course, or it's changing my life, it's ruining everything. When you think, oh, this had to happen. If I ask future me about this event, they'll say, yeah, that had to happen. And guess where I'm at? I'm here. I made it. Your goals, we did it. But you have to go through that. That's part of your path. When you think that way, you go, oh, this is part of the path. You don't freak out. You don't spiral. It's not an event that destroys your world. And you get to move past it way quicker and quicker towards your purpose and desires. So this is a way to speed up your rate of success to get to where you want to go. Okay, but it all comes down to knowing what your purpose and your desires are. You really have to know it. You have to hold on to it, and you have to think about it daily, multiple times a day, which becomes easy when you replace all your beta thoughts with that, because we have tons of them, tons of beta thoughts. Basically, every thought that comes in your head is a beta thought. So now that you know the difference between alpha and beta, now you can kind of picture what's going on and say, oh, that's a beta thought, grab it, flush it, here's alpha, here's what I want, and I'm gonna get there. I don't know how, but I know I'm going to. That's alpha. So when you realize that, and you start to give more voice to your alpha and more power to your alpha thinking, and you get on that wavelength and you stay there, everything that comes from your heart, your instincts, your gut, whatever, you act on it instinctively eventually. You don't even have to think about it. I consider I'm following my path. I don't know what's on the path. I just know that every time I step forward, whatever happens in that step is part of it. And if it's something that I didn't expect, all I know is it's part of what's going to get me to where I want to go. And my alpha thinking just takes it in and processes it and says, okay, I need this, let's use it. And every thought that I have on how to react to that is part of my alpha, and I trust it. So if it's an idea comes in and my alpha says, it's a good idea, we got to do something about it, I don't even have to think about it. I take the idea and I process it and I use it. If it's an opportunity that's presented and my alpha says, we need this to get to our purpose, and it was brought to you by the universe that we trust, I act on it. I don't think, oh, well, how can I use it? What's the next step with it? That all comes. It just comes to us. You don't need to think about these things. That's, again, back to trusting yourself. You don't have to think. There's no, how do I use this? What do I do with it? Those ideas just come. You don't have to do like mental calculation. You don't have to do that. It just happened. Now that seems hard, and if it is hard if you think about it now because you haven't known this stuff, but that's where you go. That's where it gets to. So right now, when you have an idea, your instinct is to think, how do I use it? What's the point of this idea? And that's understandable. That's just how we've been kind of programmed. So you might not instantly be able to go, oh, instantly think of instincts and my instincts will take over and do it, but you'll get there. So the point is to start by, replacing all your beta thoughts with your purpose and desires, so that your alpha thoughts can start to come and manifest themselves. When you do this, you magnetize all the right people, all the right opportunities, all the things you need. What was that? I just heard a weird feedback. All the things that you need to get to your purpose, this point B in your life, from here to here, you magnetize it all. It just starts to come to you. And it can happen fast. It did for me. Live, which some of you people know that I did Live, and I was one of the top earners in it. Live came into my life, I think it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks after speaking to my mentor and me starting to think about my purpose and desires and start to think alpha. It was about 3 weeks. It came into my life. And not only did it come into my life, I was recruited by like the top earner in that company and the previous company, the sister company. I was recruited and mentored by that guy who I used to look up to. Like he was like a role model for me. It was just like, bam, here you go. And it blew my mind. It blew my mind. And that's how crazy it is. Life will go, bam, here you go. And you'll be like, holy crap, how did that just happen? But you gotta shift your thinking. So the best way I can tell you to do that is to replace all your beta thoughts with your purpose and desires. So I spoke to him very often, and I've been able to cram a lot of what I learned over a longer period of time into this one call, but there were other little things that I do want to talk about this stuff once a week, at least. Even if it's repetitive, I want us to keep getting on the track and doing this together. There were certain things that he told me that kind of added to it, but weren't completely relevant. Like, there is no right and wrong. There's correct and incorrect, but there is no right and wrong. And he gave me this really like kind of extreme example. So I think, and I'll try and reword this the way he did it. He said, if a school bus full of children went over a cliff and crashed, is that good or bad? The instant thought is, well, that's bad. That's a bunch of children that died. But you don't have all the answers. You don't know whether, first of all, some of those kids turned into serial murderers if they were left alive and did more damage to the world or not. So you can't say good or bad. So what if it landed in front of, in front of the families? It landed right in front of the families who these children are. Is this good or bad? Well, how do you know that the people who are watching, the mothers, the fathers that watch this, didn't take from this something important, and that whole village turn around and say, we've got to change our ways? Maybe they were all drunks and, just terrible people, that when they saw this, they changed their ways. Some of them started organizations that raised money and helped a lot of people. Like, so what if that event created a very positive reaction that made a positive effect on the world? You know what I mean? We don't have the variables. So nothing is right or wrong, especially in the grand scheme of the world. You were just looking at things very, tiny. And we say, oh, the instant result is that looks bad. But we don't know that. So there's no point in labeling anything right or wrong, good or bad. So that, and I think he taught me that because it's a distraction. And if you think that way, it can take you off of your course. When you see something like a car crash and maybe somebody died, and you start to dwell on like, oh my goodness, and oh, that's so bad and whatever, it's just, it's a wavelength that you don't need to be on. And when you see things in your life that you think are bad, again, it goes back to, you're on your path. It was meant to happen. It'll lead to whatever it needs to lead to for you to get to your purpose and desires. It's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It's just another little event that happened. And we don't know why, but it happened. It might not show why it was a good thing for our purpose until years down the road, but it was meant to happen. And it doesn't mean it was good. It doesn't mean it was bad. It was just another event. So those are some of the things that he taught me. I'll leave you with that. That is a lot to work with. And it does take work. It takes consistent work to recognize your beta thoughts. So as long as you're aware of beta thinking and aware that a thought that you have, if it's a question, a doubt, honestly, if you're asking yourself a question, it's a beta thought. If you're saying, well, how or why or who or what, if you're asking yourself a question, it's beta. Recognize that, just replace it. And it's going to seem like a lot of work having to keep, replacing, but the more you do it, the easier it is, the more it becomes second nature. And I'll almost consider myself, it's like you're a robot, but you're not a robot without emotion, feeling, or whatever. You're not like, you're just, it's more like you have so much trust in yourself that everything you do, it just kind of, you follow yourself instead of, you're trying to follow other things. You're trying to follow, well, this is the successful route. I got to follow that and follow that person. You just start to follow yourself, and you do. It's funny. It's almost like you're watching yourself. You watch yourself work without, it's almost like you're disconnected and you're watching. Okay. Oh, there's Sarah, and she's doing this now, and she's doing that now, and she had this idea and she's following this. It's almost like that begins to happen. That's what it's like for me. I watch myself follow this path, and it's not that I make certain choices. I just do it. You know what I mean? And I'm watching myself go where I want to go and attract the people that I want to attract. So everything to do with my purpose and desires, I want to help people. I'm attracting awesome people who I can help. You know what I mean? And it's all falling into place. So it does take work. This is, again, a year and a half ago is when I got this training. So it's not going to happen overnight. But the only way to get to that point is to start, and to start now, not tomorrow, not the day after. It's to start now. So tonight, your missions, I would say step one is to really paint a clear picture of what your purpose in life is. Whatever it is that fulfills you, that rewards you, that makes you feel like this is why I'm here. This is why I'm on this planet. This. I don't care if it's, taking care of animals. I don't care if it's, helping people learn how to paint. It doesn't matter what it is. You just got to know what it is and roll with it. And, I will also put this disclaimer. Elevacity might not be what gets you to here. Elevacity just could be a stepping stone. That's what Live was. And I even said that to people in my Live team. I said, Live might not be the thing that takes you to your point B that we're talking about. It might just be a stepping stone. That's not a bad thing. We need these stepping stones. We need all the little events that happen to get to here. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to think of Elevacity as the be all end all. This is it. It's just part of your path. And walk your path. Take one step at a time. You don't have to know what's down the path 50 steps from here. All you have to know is that when you take this step, that you trust what's happening. You take the next step. It's all part of that path. Okay. Well, that's about it. Don't overwhelm you. I love you guys so much, and I hope this helps you. Please, we'll do this weekly, and so we can all update each other and also talk about the differences you noticed and how you found changing this way of thinking worked for you. I would love to hear updates on what's happening with all of you with this stuff. This is powerful stuff. You got to trust yourselves on this, and that can be a hard thing for a lot of people. Learn to trust yourself. You know the answers. Always go back to the example of how often have you had an opinion or an idea and you've asked someone else for their thoughts on it, or what their opinion on your idea is. You already knew the answer. You just asked that for them to validate it. That's alpha. That's your alpha thinking with your beta thought saying, well, I got to question it. You don't need to question it. You know. Anyways, much love, guys. I hope you have a wonderful night. Let me know how everything's going. And if you have any questions, reach out at any time. Okay? Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
You're
Sarah.
very welcome.
Thank you.